This is the Tech Support Guy Show, episode 66 for January 13th, 2013. I'm all out of Java, big brother. Welcome to the Tech Support Guy Show. I'm Mike Cermak, known on the site as Tech Guy, and with me today, as always, is Daniel McCarthy.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing, Dan?
I am neato, nifty, and keen.
Hey, you know, I think it's a new record where it only took us 23 minutes to get all the equipment running for the recording today.
It is a tech support show.
It is. We need some tech support here, is what we need. We need to, like, hire an intern to come in here and get all this stuff up and running for us, because you and I are both so lazy. We come in at, 1 o'clock on the dot to record it, and we're like, I guess it's time to start setting stuff up.
Right.
The show doesn't really start at 1. It's just when we start setting stuff up. For those who want to watch live, by the way, you can go to techguy.tv. That's also where we post all the past episodes, downloads, MP3s, videos, all of that. YouTube links, site links, all the websites we talk about. We put the links in there for it. And also the live show. We've got a handful of people in there watching today. We do the live show through the stream. They can watch us mess up, goof up, do retakes, and you can be part of all of that and correct us. And also the best part of the chat room is you get to give Dan a hard time.
Yes.
That's what Hobo says.
Thank you, Hobo. Thank you.
So our next live recording is going to be on Sunday, February the 3rd. That's a little change from our usual second Sunday schedule. It's the first Sunday. Sunday the 3rd, and it'll be at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Eastern. So mark that on your calendars, or go to techguy.tv to see that if you forget. But hopefully you can join us in there then. Hobo and Captain Ron and the other people in there would appreciate it. They don't like to be stuck there just with us. All right, Dan, we got two interesting stories to talk about today. We're going to get into some Disney magic that you're very excited about, because I know how much you like Disney to begin with. And I know how much you like privacy issues, so we're gonna save that until later, and we're gonna jump into the minor technical difficulty that Java seems to be having.
I think it's funny that you say minor there, Mike, because the Department of Homeland Security, CERT, and the rest of the interwebs at large is making a very, very big deal about this vulnerability.
Well, they say it only affects 1 billion plugins.
I thought it said more than a billion, but
well, once you get up to 1 billion, I think people stop counting.
So, to be clear, this is a vulnerability that happens in Java's web plugins. So, I want everyone to stop and just digest that for a minute. Java web plugins.
Right.
When was the last time that you actually ran a Java web plugin?
Well, it seems like every other week that I hit the install button on an update from Java.
That's a Java web update. So that's just telling you to update Java in general.
Right. So that I can then use the web apps that you're discussing.
And what are those?
And my point being that I think I update the Java program more often than I use an actual app that runs Java.
Yeah, so everyone is kind of up in arms about this, that this could make everybody vulnerable. And to be fair, I have disabled Java in all of my browsers. But I don't use Java web plugins to begin with. This is just in case I happen to stumble upon a website that does, in fact, use a Java plugin. So what
still use, I guess there's some online games that still use Java, like some old card games and stuff like that aren't in Flash or HTML5. I think there's still some out there. If you go to Yahoo Games, some of those might still be in Java. You know what I'm saying? I don't mean like Facebook games, but...
Oh, absolutely. And Mike's like some of the surveillance programs you used to run in the past, they were web apps, but they had Java plugins.
Right.
That you use. So I'm sure there are plugins like that people are using that are basically only accessible to them and should, by definition, be, while susceptible, they're secure from this because it's a signing issue. So it's a self-signing issue specifically with Java certs.
So, so you're saying that if someone goes to a particular website on a regular basis, that they're relatively secure if that site is secure. But if they have the Java program on their computer and they happen to be surfing the internet and go to a nasty website that's running one, they're still vulnerable.
Yeah, they are still vulnerable, but you have to go to one of these sites, and you can be tricked into it. So I don't mean to downplay the seriousness of the vulnerability and the ease with which somebody could wreak havoc. People are gullible, so they will click on links in their emails that are spam. But you have to give permission to allow a Java web applet to run. Are you dying back there?
Nah, just a little bit.
All right.
I was trying to do it off camera so you wouldn't notice, but apparently I'm not succeeding. Well, you're right. They have to give permission for it to run, but people see, especially people who aren't computer, experts, they see, are you sure you want to run this program 100 times a day? And hit yes, 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 yes. Yeah, they don't think about it and say,
Yeah.
Good question in the chat room here. There's a couple good questions in the chat room, but Captain Ron says, would not our antivirus programs help us out here?
I don't believe so. I don't believe, because I think the antivirus programs are checking the Java virtual machine itself for vulnerabilities, not the code that's running within the Java virtual machine. Does that make sense? So basically the code doesn't exist at the point that the antivirus would be reviewing it, I don't think.
I think you're right. I think the only way it could really happen is if there was a known Java applet, the whole, what do I want to say, not rendered, what's the word for...
the class file?
Yeah, if the whole file was already known to be an infected file and shared onto the web, then maybe that could be caught. But no, you're right. I think that in general this isn't going to protect you by antivirus.
I think the antivirus would only become aware of it. The only way that the antivirus would become aware of it is if your antivirus monitored your memory. And as inefficient as antivirus is anyway, I don't think that they'd be able to efficiently monitor.
Well, it's not just monitoring the memory, but monitoring actually what's inside that code to see.
Yeah, that's...
Anyhow, it's possible some antivirus may pick up some of them, but I don't think that's a strong enough way to do it. So the current official recommendation from Oracle, who owns Java...
Wait. Not Oracle. Just to be clear, Oracle has actually been very silent on this matter until yesterday and Friday. But the recommendations coming from CERT and from the Department of Homeland Security.
Well, and what does the Department of Homeland Security really know?
Well, there is that. I mean...
No, it is all very serious. So the official recommendation from the authorities is...
disable Java web plugins.
To disable...
Well, they started out by saying disable Java entirely, which, to the average user, how in the heck do I do that? Or how do I just disable web plugins? But the Department of Homeland Security and the reporting that happened on it, they were actually very fatalist about it, I guess. They were saying that it was Java entirely and that it was all versions of Java. And I think that was very misleading and kind of... I don't know, going a little overboard. It's not Java Enterprise Edition. It's not Java Micro Edition. It's not Android, which is Java-based. It's Java Web Plugins.
Right.
But the official recommendation... But from your
average consumer sitting in front of the computer, it's Java to them.
I give you that.
You know what I mean? It's the average consumer isn't worried about Enterprise Edition or... the embedded edition that's in my DVD player or whatever else there. Anyhow, it's a big freaking deal. And so right now the recommendation is to disable web plugins on your computer so you can't run Java. And Dan's point is that you probably won't even notice it. It's unlikely you go to a website that uses it anyway. Would you even put it on a new computer? Whenever we build computers at the shop, we install, all the updates, we install Flash, we install Java, we install a bunch of stuff for them so it's ready to go. Should we even bother with Java anymore? Is it more trouble than it's worth?
For a home user, I would say you probably don't need Java. For me, I use a lot of tools that require Java, such as Eclipse and Eclipse-based products like Talend Open Studio.
Yeah, but that's because you're a developer. I mean, your average person isn't...
Yeah, I agree. The average person, I don't think, actually needs Java. Java on the web and Java applets were a response to a lack of functionality in HTML.
Right.
And with HTML5, and I hate to say it, but Flash, there's really no need for Java in the web.
Well, and even moving beyond Flash, yeah, HTML5. Right, you said that, my bad.
Right. Yeah, HTML5 has replaced, in my opinion, both Flash and Java.
Correct.
Unfortunately, developers aren't moving forward fast enough with HTML5 to replace Flash immediately. But Java, I would say, there's really no need to have Java pre-installed on an end user's PC.
Great, I'm with you. And what's the word on an update? When is the update to fix this going to be out so we can re-enable Java on our computers?
So Oracle has. This is what's funny. Oracle was very silent about this. They did not come out with much of anything.
Do you think that also speaks to the point where it's not really needed anymore?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
If this were a vulnerability in Internet Explorer, I mean, holy cow, we'd have an update, pretty quickly.
I'm not sure I agree with that.
Okay, if it were in Firefox.
Right, Firefox or Chrome, you would actually see it very quickly.
You know what I mean? Internet Explorer may be a bad example. But
yeah. I think it speaks to Oracle's understanding of how their products are used. I think they understand that their products aren't used just for Java web applets much at all. Java is really an enterprise solution or an embedded solution. It's not a web solution, as we've just discussed. So yeah, I think that they understood that. But nonetheless, this is about PR, right? So Java's used in a lot of things, like you mentioned. It's used in your set-top box, your DVR, your TiVo, your phones. It's used for your bank's websites. And if you know this as a consumer, are you going to be afraid to use those products because it uses Java now?
And it gives them a bad name, yeah, even though it's not directly affected.
Right, but Java didn't, or Oracle didn't address this at all, and I was really surprised by that.
That is surprising.
They waited until it, I guess, got to critical mass, and then came out and said, "Yeah, we're working on something."
Well, it says here that that this vulnerability has been successfully demonstrated on Java SE5 Update 22, Java SE6 Update 35, Java SE7 Update 7, using fully patched 32-bit Windows 7 system, as well as 5 different web browsers: Firefox, Chrome, Internet Explorer 9, Safari, Opera. So it sounds like it isn't just Java 7, like I thought before we started recording. It is in older versions.
I thought the same thing. I thought it was just Java 7 as well. I was surprised just now to hear that it's been updated to very specific versions.
Yeah.
But again, who uses Java web applets?
Well, so the people listening, you need to check, make sure you see if you have it on your computer, follow the directions to remove it or to disable it, and I'll post that in the chat or in the show notes as well. And again, the show notes are techguy.tv, or you can just Google it. This is going to be everywhere because everyone's doing it right now.
And to just a little bit more to add to this, typically speaking, when we talk about vulnerabilities, they usually hit the Windows platform only. The vulnerabilities exist on that platform itself. This is not the case with this vulnerability. It affects Windows, Mac OS X, Linux. I'm not sure if other operating systems are susceptible, but because it's a Java virtual machine bug, it exists on all platforms. So someone exploiting this vulnerability could gain access to your Linux PC, your Mac OS, crap top, whatever.
Yep. Well, and Hobo says in the chat room it's time to move on to another topic because this is going to be resolved soon. And we really don't know that. They've been kind of quiet about when the next update's going to come out. They say the next scheduled update... when was the next scheduled update going to be? I don't know. But anyhow, but it's going to be a couple of months maybe before they have an update for it, which is kind of shocking.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to move quickly on this because, again, who uses Java web plugins?
All right, moving along to our next story. So our next one's a little bit happier story. It's about Disney, and everything that happens in Disney is magical and great, and on the up and up, and nothing to worry about here. So this is a happy story for you about some magic of Disney. RFID is something we've talked about in the past. I'll post this link again in here for anyone who's in the chat and didn't catch it earlier. RFID is something we've talked about in the past. Basically, it's like we have key card access at a lot of our buildings where you have those cards you wave in front of the door and it unlocks it for you. They also have credit cards now where you touch the credit card to the terminal. You don't swipe it. You just put it near there and it picks it up.
Easy Pass and Smart Tag.
Yeah, Easy Pass, exactly. That's a great example. In your car, you just drive through the lane. You don't even have to stop. Exactly. So that's what we're talking about here is RFID, and that's radio frequency identification, where they can transmit or identify the particular item using radio. And what's really cool about it is that they don't even require a battery in the RFID transmitter in most cases, like in close range stuff. So anyhow, it's neat technology. That's what we've seen it used for in the past. And Disney is jumping on this, and they're going to remake the Disney World experience using RFID. And what
all right. Hold on.
I haven't even.
I'll just please. So, Mike, you just posted the link into the chat room, and you're going to put it in the show notes.
Yep. Yes, sir.
I have to say, before you even get into it, this guy has to be paid by Disney.
Oh, well, that could be. Now, he doesn't have to be.
All right, go ahead.
You know, Dan, just because people like Disney doesn't mean that they're paid by Disney.
This guy's too happy on Disney. This guy is much too happy on Disney.
I disagree. I love Disney. And I can't wait to get my hands on one of their new Disney Magic Bands. And by the way, Disney, you can send me your check anytime. And it's going to... it's a cute little bracelet. Every adult wears it. Every child wears it. Everyone who gets to go in and experience the magic of Disney, Dan, gets to wear.
You can lead your money to Disney without even being aware of it.
Well, yeah, there's that. So it's this bracelet that has an RFID chip in it. So whenever you're going around in the Disney park, you can use it for different things. Presumably, they'll also use this for Fast Pass, so you can walk up and swipe your hand, and that bracelet will identify you and be able to get a Fast Pass time and that sort of thing. It's also used, as Dan said, to be able to pay for purchases within Disney parks. So instead of having to go to the trouble of pulling out your credit card, you can just move your arm near the cashier, and it'll charge your Disney account or your credit card associated with that account for your meal or for those pictures or for whatever you're buying, which of course puts an extra step between the realization that you're spending money and actually doing it, which is certainly not something Disney has thought of, I'm sure.
They actually, yeah. So any transaction that's $50 or under is automatic with the wrist. But if it's a transaction 5101, then you have to enter a PIN, which might the author of the article you posted really wants to be able to opt out of that so he can bleed all of his money to Disney.
I noticed that as well. That's such a weird thing. He says it's way too much trouble to have to put in a PIN for purchases over $50. I'd much rather be able to just swipe my arm for that as well.
Yeah, he thinks it takes away from the magic.
Well, there's nothing more magical than spending money at the Magic Kingdom. Oh my goodness. Yeah, buying those tickets and seeing the price. I think he even mentions that in the article about how magical those ticket prices are. But and even once you get in there, then you got everything else to buy it. But now you can use your wristband to do that. So, and they talk about other kind of neat uses of this. Those are the obvious ones. Also, when you go up to meet a Disney character, you might raise your hand over there to shake her hand, or put your arm near something as you walk toward the princess or whatever, and it's going to identify the child wearing that, so that the character can then say, "Happy birthday, Daniel. Thanks for coming to Disney." And Daniel's going to be like, "Oh my goodness, how did Princess whatever know my name and that today's my birthday?" Which is you've got to admit, that's kind of magical.
I don't see this. It's
not creepy in any way whatsoever.
It's kind of creepy. It's very Orwellian.
It's a little bit. Well, and where it gets more Orwellian is where they talk about they want to do data sampling and data collection on this. So they want to make connections that if you're likely to go buy this meal, then maybe you're going to go do this, and most of the people who visit this ride also go and do this, and there's a lot of connections that can be made with that. And there was there's a really good ERP advertisement about this a couple of years ago, where there were these guys working in a grocery store, and the one guy was they were bringing out whatever kind of fruit, and the one guy was saying, "Why are we carrying this type of fruit? No one ever buys this." And the guy pulled out his handheld computer and said, "Well, that's true, but the people who buy this also go over and pay $50 and buy this, and so they had that that item there that they lost money on only because they knew that attracted people to bring it to buy this other item." And I think that Disney's going to make a lot of connections like that. You can imagine it's $1 billion just to put this RFID system in. You can imagine they must be finding some kind of ROI on it.
Oh, they're definitely going to make a return on investment here. They're going to understand their consumers better.
Yes,
so
that's what I'm saying, right.
By understanding their consumers, they're absolutely going to make the experience better for those consumers, or ease the path to spending more money at Disney so that they can continue to creepy Big Brother. I'm sorry, that's great, Hobo. Creepy Big Brother Cinderella. They're absolutely going to make it easier to spend your money there. And it's not just about you waving your wrist in front of a ride or using it as a payment mechanism. This is a dream come true for Disney. They will be able to, putting emotions aside, be able to understand what their customers do at Disney.
Right, and be able to track them throughout the park.
Right. My concern is there's no private data stored on the wristband itself.
Right. It's just a number.
So, right. Exactly. It's just a number. But in order to do anything with that number, they're going to have to combine that with the data from you. So in order to analyze it, they have to determine who you are and total amount of money that you spent there. There's a lot of things that they haven't necessarily come out with. What exactly, as Captain Ron said, what are they going to do with this data?
Right.
How are they going to slice and dice it? And it gives them virtually, short of emotions, and unlimited options to use this data. I mean, they don't have to use it just at that device. They could track your every footstep. How long did it take you to get from the concession stand to the teacup ride?
Right.
And what can we do to make that faster? And then things like that are neat, but you're not aware that any of that's happening.
Right. So is that a problem if you're not aware of the magic that's going on behind the scenes there?
For me, it's a problem.
Is it?
I do. I'm a control freak. I like to know everything that's happening. So I don't necessarily have to understand 100% of everything that's happening there. But if my family's being tracked like that, I absolutely want to know. And I think that.
But they're just using it to improve the experience. I mean, it's certainly their right when you're on their property to track you.
Yeah.
It's not like they're you know what I mean? It's not like they're getting personal.
If Disney came out and said it like that, they would lose business.
Say it again?
If Disney came out and said that, while you're on our property, we have the right to track you, I think they would lose business.
Yeah, okay, that might be not the right PR line, but I'm just saying, well, and I think that it will improve the experience. I think it will give them useful information to further improve their parks and even things like you said, to get people where they want to go faster and better and so on, and certainly to make more money. They'll certainly use it for that, and who would expect them to do anything else? But I don't know. I don't necessarily have a problem with it. I think it's kind of cool. And Disney didn't pay me off yet.
See, I'm both intrigued by it and kind of taken aback. I think it's as I said, Orwellian. It's scary what they can do with it.
My problem is I don't get how this is a privacy issue. Like, why? That's why I said that, when you're on their property, they can do what they want. It's not like they're using it to secretly take pictures of you or.
Sure.
Although they're certainly doing that as well. They have security cameras everywhere that we don't see, I'm sure. But you know what I'm saying? It's not like they're getting information from me that they wouldn't have otherwise.
Well, see, so if you're telling me that my kid has her wristband on, and when she goes up to Cinderella says, "Hi, Carrotwin," that's how it's a privacy concern. So yes, you're absolutely right. The data is not stored on the RFID.
So what would be really cool is if you hack into the Disney servers and then you have a kid walk up to you and you can sense what their name is and say, "Hey, Johnny, come over with me and have some candy in this van."
Right?
But what's the likelihood of someone actually being able to hack in and be able to make that connection? That's just not going to happen. I don't know. Captain Ron says that'll happen sooner or later.
I have to agree with him. I was going to put a kind of smart aleck thing in there. Yeah, no public company has ever exposed publicly user data because.
But what public user data could they get? I mean, the only thing kind of scary for me on this is that there's kids involved. So if something does go wrong with it, having kids there, it can go all kinds of bad. And people are super sensitive about privacy with kids.
Absolutely. So let's run through it. So I'm going to sign up for this RFID program. One, I'm going to give you my credit card number. Concern number one. Two, I have 4 kids with me.
All right, hang on. For one thing, you're already going to give them your credit card number. Probably 100 times while you're there.
Sure, sure.
Now you only have to give it to them once. And less likely that one of their cashiers making minimum wage is going to take it behind the counter and take a picture with her cell phone of it so she can go on eBay later and make some purchases. You only have to hand it to one person who can steal it rather than 100 of them.
I'm going to come to Disney's defense and say that they don't have anyone making just minimum wage, and I'm fairly confident in that. But so I completely agree with you. So credit cards can be stolen anywhere.
Okay, move on.
So I come in, I give them my credit card, and I have 4 kids, and I'm going to give them my kids' names so that Mickey Mouse and Goofy can say, "Hi, Caradwin, Sage, Orion, Rowan."
Right.
And I'm a little concerned that this is such a big place, my kids are going to get lost. So I'm going to give them my cell phone number and my wife's cell phone number. And then I'm going to give them my physical address so that they can, if we leave our sweater there and they know it's ours because it's our whatever, they can mail it back to us. So they're going to know the ages of my children. They're going to want to know the ages of my children because depending on the age of my child, they're going to entice them with various things. So maybe a 6-foot rat is a little bit scary saying, "Hi, Rowan, how are you?" So I don't do it to Rowan. I do it to Orion, who is a little bit older. Fine. Now they know the ages of my children. That privacy concern number 523.
Why do you care if they know how old your kids are?
This is all data that they have about my children. So this is all privacy data, right?
Yeah, it is. I just don't. I guess I'm not sensitive enough to it. There are many people who would argue with me on this, and very passionately. But I don't care.
See, I don't like. Yeah, I don't like anyone having that kind of information. But Disney's a good company for the most part, other than their stranglehold on copyrights.
So another company that I like, and I said I wasn't going to go on a tangent, we're already making the show too long, but I'm going to go on a tangent anyway because it's not much of one. Target is a company that I like. And I don't know if you have a Target in the boonies where you are, but we go to one pretty frequently. And there was a great story. This was maybe about a year ago. I'll put it in the show notes. I'll also throw it in the chat room here. And the title of this Forbes story, and you'll see why I made a connection here, is How Target Figured Out a Teen Was Pregnant Before Her Father Did.
Oh, I saw that. That's an old story.
It is. It's about a year old, and February of 12. And we might have mentioned it on the show before. I don't know. But what's interesting is they talk about how they use the customers' data, their buying habits. And so Target creates a unique number for each of their customers that we're not even aware of. And whenever you use your credit card or a coupon that they sent you or a Target loyalty card or credit card or whatever, then they mark that purchase into that account. They know, hey, Dan McCarthy of this address just bought, a size 5 Pampers or whatever. And, even without you telling them that, you swiped your card or you used a coupon or they identified you in some way. And whenever they can do that, they will. And then they use that to send you more advertisements that are specifically designed for you, that are targeted towards you and your buying habits and what they know about you. And they also have this pregnancy score that they base on a number of things, and not the sort of things you would expect. Like, the pregnancy prediction score is not based on whether or not you bought a pregnancy test. I'm trying to find it in here, some of the ways that they did it. But it's like towels and different things like that.
Toiletries and things.
Non-scented. Here we go. So poll, this person ran test after test analyzing the data, and before long some useful patterns emerged. Lotions, for example. Lots of people buy lotion, but one of Poll's colleagues noticed that women on the baby registry were buying larger quantities of unscented lotion around the beginning of their second trimester. Another analyst noted that sometime in the first 20 weeks, pregnant women loaded up on supplements like calcium, magnesium, and zinc. Many shoppers purchase soap and cotton balls, but when someone suddenly starts buying lots of scent-free soap and extra big bags of cotton balls, and in addition to hand sanitizers and washcloths, it signals that they could be getting close to their delivery date. So they use this kind of information to create a pregnancy prediction score and to send out coupons to that person related to, because Target makes a lot of money on baby stuff, on furniture and everything else there. And so this guy got coupons in the mail with and a thing that I think it even said congratulations on your upcoming whatever. I don't know how specific it actually was, but he was pretty PO'd because this guy got it for his daughter. It came in the mail for his teenage daughter. And he says, my daughter got this in the mail. He said, she's still in high school, and you're sending her coupons for baby clothes and cribs. Are you trying to encourage her to get pregnant? And then he called back later and said, I had a talk with my daughter. So Target knew it before the father did, was the point of the story. And it's kind of creepy. And one thing that Target says in here is, let me see if I can find it here. There's a real good quote about how they try not to freak people out. Here, he says, so Target got sneakier about sending the coupons. The company can create personalized booklets, and instead of sending people with high pregnancy scores books of coupons solely for diapers, rattles, strollers, and the Go the F to Sleep book, they more subtly do it and spread them out. And the quote from this person is, then we started mixing in all the ads for things we knew pregnant women would never buy, so the baby ads looked random. We'd put an ad for a lawnmower next to diapers. We'd put a coupon for wine glasses next to infant clothes. That way, it looked like all the products were chosen by chance. And we found out that as long as the pregnant woman thinks that she hasn't been spied on, she'll use the coupons. She just assumes that everyone else on her block got the same mailer for diapers and cribs. As long as we don't spook her, it works. And I thought
the fact that they know it's creepy makes it even creepier.
I thought that was so. I read that. I was like, wow, that they.
So now all we need them to do is take our pictures when we're checking out and match that with our credit card data, and then match that with the analytics that they've already performed on us to basically do some kind of psychoanalysis of us. Yeah, this is just creepy.
I remember when the RFID stuff first started coming out a couple years ago, there was a company that was creating because the RFID mini chips are really cheap to make, and they were going to put them onto a lot of products, and then they were going to set up these screens throughout the TV, and as you walk by, it'll say, hey, I see you got some toothpaste in your cart. Wouldn't you like to buy a new toothbrush as well? And stuff like that. And I see you bought a large whatever. Why don't you get this to go with it? And they did a couple tests on it, and it turned out it freaked people the heck out. They were really not happy about that.
I can't imagine.
Anyhow, I just thought that was fascinating, and I thought exactly what you said, that it's really interesting that I love that final quote there, as long as we don't spook her, it works. Yeah. That they know it's creepy. And I personally, maybe I'm really weird, I don't have a problem with it. People feel the same way about the ads on Google. Whenever you're surfing the web and you have Google AdSense, and I don't mean on Google as in on the Google website, but if you're on Tech Support Guy, for example, because that's the site you should be on, you'll have Google AdSense running at the top and on the side, and frequently it'll have ads about whatever is on the page that you're looking at. Maybe it'll have antivirus ads or backup ads or some other computer-related ads. Other times you'll go there and it'll be ads specifically targeted to you. If you've recently looked at Toyota's website, you might suddenly see ads from Toyota saying, hey, come back and buy this car. Or if you were recently on Amazon's website. For example, I was looking at some security cameras that were on Amazon's website, and then I went to Tech Support Guy and I saw ads on the side from Amazon for that camera. And that freaks people out. It doesn't bother me so much because I kind of get how it works, and I think it's useful. I would much rather see ads that I'm interested in than to see an ad for a Toyota right now. I'm not buying a car. I'd rather see ads for cameras.
I tend to agree with that, and I'm with you. The Google ads don't flip me out. But there's something about going to a brick and mortar store that makes you feel even more spied upon.
So you're okay with all the spying online, but it's just whenever they use it to know your kid's name that you freak out.
No, I think if you're bothered by it, you should be able to opt out of it entirely.
Well, and I think you can. And I think they address that in the Disney thing as well, that you'll be able to opt out of it.
Like the entire thing. And for Disney, from my perspective, for Disney, I think that it's a great marketing tool. Much like you actually, the analogy between online ad targeting and what they're doing at Disney is perfect. That is a great analogy. And I think, if Disney wanted to do this on a population, so we give discounts to people who want to opt into this to help you better understand. Sure, I'll save a buck or two if you give me a discount, and I'll go through and you can see. And they probably will.
They'll probably say, "Hey, we see that you visit this place. Why don't you have a $1 off coupon?" They'll probably target specials to you to get you to go to different places. Just like just like Target is. Target is spying to try and figure out whether or not you're pregnant and sending you coupons.
But Target, again, this is another one of those things you should be able to opt out of entirely. Stop tracking my purchases.
Yeah, I don't know if Target, and that's of course why they have loyalty cards. People don't realize that you do, but Absolutely. At grocery stores, people, have those loyalty cards and they don't understand that that's why Giant is willing to give you, 10 cents off, every time you buy, Coke or whatever. It's because they're paying you off so that they can keep track of what you're doing.
I use a store card.
You do?
I do.
Every time you walk in, they're like, there's that guy again.
They pretty much do, and that's okay. I'm all right with that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Quite all right with
and in the Hobo says in the chat room that this is all about personal data, and we try so hard to keep it private. It's all about, I think my problem with it is what is considered personal data. Do I care whether or not Target, because, it goes back to whenever we had small shops, do I care whether or not Target knows that I'm pregnant? Do I care whether or not Target knows I buy, a case of Coke every week? I don't know. And because what are they going to do with that? Send me coupons for Coke? Great. What's the problem? Send me coupons for diapers? Great. I don't understand. It's like, oh no, now they're going to break into my house and steal my baby because they know I'm pregnant. It's, no. I don't think anyone's thinking that that's what's going on here.
Yeah,
and so I think it's all about, what you think is private and why. And I don't know. I think the problem is that they're kind of quiet about it. I think that there's twofold here. I think that Target and Disney and all of those are kind of quiet about how they're doing this and what they're doing. Like Target said, they don't want to spook people. And on the other hand, I think people are freaked out because they don't know that this is going on. They wonder what else is going on. But it's almost as if everyone would just be open about it and say, all right, track my purchases, send me coupons. I think kids will understand this more. I think the next generation is going to care less and less and less about this. I mean, they go to Facebook, they post what they're eating for lunch every day. They don't have any care about privacy.
I mean, some of it is that these people are slicing and dicing us and categorizing us, and in some cases know us better than we know ourselves.
True.
And I don't care who you are. That should be concerning.
Why?
If some random machine knows you better than you know yourself,
I would bet that the Google servers know me pretty darn well.
I have no doubt.
Through Gmail, through Google searches, through ads, through everything else, Google knows me pretty freaking well. But I don't know if I'm really scared about that. I don't think they're going to...
Google is Skynet.
Well, Google I'm not a big fan of Google of late, as you know, so that's a bad example. But not because of that, though. I don't care about the privacy issues. I care about the monopoly issues and other things, but I don't know.
I think it needs to be watched because I think we can expect more RFID usage. I think that there are a lot of people. There's actually a case very recently where a school is using RFID in their badges. A high school is using the RFID in their badges, and they require the students to wear a lanyard around their neck.
I think it was even beyond that, right? I don't know if it was just even straight RFID, because I thought it had like GPS tracking or something in it.
I'm not sure if it had GPS tracking on it.
Maybe it was some exaggerated story that I saw a headline of.
But it definitely had RFID on it with the student's picture, and they had to wear it around their neck. And the concern was that it was a religious one that said it was the mark of the beast. And all joking aside, so what if we decided to employ RFID in our babies when they're born? Because like you said, it doesn't need a battery in most cases.
Right, just like we do with our dogs. Just put a little chip in.
Exactly. So, and this is definitely conspiracy theory crazy talk here. But what if they did that and we didn't know about it?
And we didn't know about it?
And we didn't know about it. Conspiracy theory, crazy talk, but I don't know. That concerns me.
So I guess who is doing it and why? Yeah, the fact that you don't know about it, that's no good. I mean, with the Disney bracelets, Disney's being very open about this, I think. It's not like these bracelets are just to connect you to the credit cards and nothing else. You just make purchases with it.
Let me rephrase that. I think they're being open about what they plan to do with it. I think when they implement it for the common user who doesn't watch necessarily our podcast, or who is just told at the gate, hey, you can do this and it'll allow us to do all of these things. It's not going to tell them everything that it does and
That's true.
what they're using the data for.
That's
they're not going to understand it.
Well, I don't know if there's any way you can explain it to them at the gate. I think they'll have it on the website. I think they'll have a whole page explaining it and how they, protect your privacy and what's actually being tracked and all that for people who care. But I think also you have to realize the average person doesn't care. I think the average person couldn't care less that Disney's going to know that I bought a hamburger and then walked over to the teacups.
During conversations like this, I'm happy that I am not the average person.
So Dan's going to get one of these bracelets and just screw with them. He's going to run from one ride to the other side of the park and just to screw up their data. They'll be like, what is going on?
That's actually a fairly good idea. Attach it to my dog or something and send my dog through there.
Pretty sure you're not allowed to have dogs in there, but yeah, that's...
A rodent. There we go. Find a rodent. Because the Magic Kingdom has to have rats.
Well, and you've got to... but it's got to be at a reader. It can't just be read anywhere.
I don't know about that. See, that's my concern is that...
They do have long-range readers, but I don't know how long-range... So here's the concern. What about cancer? All this radiation of all these card readers, all the kids walking around and just being scanned 24/7...
Think about this. Beneath the Magic Kingdom, there's like a whole slew of tunnels
I've been in
things
it.
like that.
Yeah, I've been in the corridors down there. We went on a behind-the-scenes tour. It was fascinating.
So again, they put them in there... They put them in there just to track, again, how long it takes you to get from point A to point B. Whatever point A and point B are, they want to know this information because they can slice and dice it and use that information to make you buy something else along the way. Well, it already took you 20 minutes to go from the teacups to the concession stand. Why did it take you that long? Did you stop off in the bathrooms? Are they going to record me in the bathroom? Are they going to know that when I went to the concession stand 20 minutes later, I was in the bathroom taking a piss?
Right, and they got to decide you were at urinal number 3 or at...
Right, exactly. And yeah, then did I go to the office to complain about the cleanliness of the bathrooms?
And then they're going to charge you extra for unplugging the toilet.
Right. I don't know. I think they could have a lot of uses for this that they wouldn't tell us about. And again, I don't necessarily, I'm sensitive about how I walk. I've got a gimp leg. I don't want them to know how long it takes me to walk from point A to point B. Sensitive about it. Very sensitive about it now.
Well, and the other side of it is they're not looking at any particular person. They're looking at trends. They don't care if Dan took. They have how many thousands of people.
I'm with you there.
Yeah.
I am a number to them.
Yes.
I am a number to them, which I don't know.
Anyhow, all right. I think we've decided that Dan is okay with it now, and he's happy to be tracked by anyone.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a great takeaway.
I've heard people, and we need to wrap up here, but I've heard also people freaked out about the Easy Pass. They say that the government's using the Easy Pass to track where you're driving and where you're going and all that.
So I've had conversations about things like this in the past. And I think the only people who have to worry about the government using that are criminals. If you're doing something illegal, yes, the government will subpoena that data to. Actually, the government probably already has that data because, in most cases, these are public toll roads, not run by a corporation necessarily. Mm-hmm. The Easy Pass and Smart Tag absolutely are run by contractors for a government.
Right.
But yes, if you were doing something illegal, they are going to track you. Stop being stupid.
I wonder if they've ever actually done that. I wonder if they've actually ever caught a criminal because he went on an Easy Pass lane.
Well,
that would be kind of smart, actually.
I was just reading reading an article about a guy in Manhattan to, I think, Staten Island, who was not paying the tolls. I don't know if you've watched, but you can actually go in behind somebody who is paid via Easy Pass and make it through the toll without the gate coming down on you.
Huh.
The thing is, though, every time it's motion sensitive, every time you do that, it takes a picture of your license plate. So there's a gentleman in Staten Island who is being charged like $25,000 because he continued to do this over a span of 5 years, and they caught him. So, and I know this myself because my Easy Pass didn't read one time. And of course I get something in the mail saying,
right,
you're easy, you went through and you didn't pay.
Right.
So I think they probably have. I think they probably have somebody who is cataloging license plate numbers that go through a given toll.
Well, I know I've seen them do it on CSI.
Yes, I've seen that. I don't know which show it was, but a kidnapping thing. I remember.
So it must be true if it was on TV.
If it was on TV, it has to be true.
Yeah, right.
Has to be true.
All right. Thank you very much, Dan. Appreciate you being here. And thanks to everyone who downloaded, watched live in the chat room, Ecom, everyone else there who was joining us. Again, our next one's going to be on Sunday, February the 3rd at 1 p.m. Eastern. So if you can join us then, that would be super. And in the meantime, hope you have a great day, and we will see you next time.